Welcome everyone to another video for Midian Gaming. Today we're continuing with the X-Files. I have updated the various decks that I initially made. So those Scully and Mulder decks are going to be changing, and today we're going to be looking at the Scully deck and what I've changed with it. What I found with the previous cards was, although I put cards in that everyone could play, we've actually tightened the deck up and made it easier to play, because before the games went on for a while and things were actually harder to play with the 5+ skill checks and how each deck interacted with each other. The Mulder deck had bigger problems. The Scully deck was winning most games. So I've structured both of them and now they compete pretty well with each other, and I think they actually work well with any type of game. So these two videos that I'm going to be doing are very good for those starting in the game. Just build these decks, and I've tried to make them with as many Premiere cards as possible. And some have the later edition cards, which we'll take a look at and see how we go, right? So I'm going to go through each of the cards and why it's in the deck and why you should be looking for it and what its role in the deck is, because that's pretty important. Rather than just picking up a deck and just trying to play it, I'm going to go through the deck, each card that's in there, and understanding why we would play it or why we would probably get rid of it or why it's not usable at a particular time, okay? So let's just get straight into it, shall we? Now I've got up on the screen here, I'll put the details of the screen that I'm using. It's a fantastic resource in regards to looking through the cards, building decks, and I use it all the time, so I'll put it down in the description as well. And I want to thank everyone in the community that has helped with various questions that I've had as I've been playing the game. I only play for fun, not competitively, and all my videos are pretty much based on the person getting into the game. Other people are doing videos and so forth in regards to more experience and expert levels of the game. I'm more interested in the fun aspects, and let's just see from the beginning, players getting into it, and then you can take it from there, yeah? All right, so let's get straight into it. Scully, look, I'll go into another video in regards to what I look for in regards to building a deck. But with Scully, I just took what she's strong in, medical, sciences, and then I had to find a third ability. And with the other agents coming on board with that, I believe I chose computer. So we've gone medical, sciences, and computer. And you'll notice Scully doesn't have computer, but the rest of her team does help with that. And this deck, you can be an agent down and still go and investigate sites. In some cases, you can investigate 2 sites a turn, even with an agent down. The deck is built to be like that, to actually progress through the game and get past challenges while giving challenges to your opponent as well. So we'll go through the agents now. So we've got Scully. I also brought on Agent Nancy Spiller. She helps Scully. She's got the one in computer, but she also assists with the medical and the sciences, bringing that up to 5 and 7 respectively in regards to those 2 abilities. We also brought on Dr. Charles Burke, who's fantastic in computer, can go to computer sites himself and maybe with a bit of help to get the 5+, but on those 4+ sites, which I've included more of in this set, I found that the game was a lot slower with too many 5+ sites. Even though they give 2 things to actually ask a question on for a choice, it was more important to actually get those abilities out there with the skill checks that were going to be successful. So I came down to the 4+ sites for a lot of these, and we'll go into the sites when I get to it. So, you know, with his 4+ computer, he's got a 2 in sciences and doesn't have any medical, but we keep going on because I've got 5 agents in this deck now, not just 4. I brought on Agent Janus. Now, Janus has fantastic medical at 3 and computer at 2. This guy is so helpful in regards to fixing where I've got deficiencies in teams. And the great thing is that whenever you play a medical card or a healing card, he can actually pay the 1 resource for it. Now, let's go back to Dr. Charles Burke. He can discard his token to get rid of an occult adversary. Have not used it yet, but it's a great ability just in case it comes up. Dana Scully can obviously look at what bluff cards are on a site, which is quite useful. And fantastic, we're also using computer and sciences with our cards, so Nancy Spiller can actually help us pay for those cards as well. So who's the 5th member of the team? I've chosen Agent Kresge. He is a 1 cost. You'll see that from his abilities, he doesn't really have much, but what is important, he does have long range 2 and close combat 2, yeah? So I use Agent Kresge when I'm putting 2 agents on a site and maybe going to 2 sites, and then I make the determination, possibly based on what the bluff cards are there or what I think my opponent's going to play, or if an agent was to be taken out, what is the worst case scenario, and I usually put him into that team. So if there is a combat to be faced, he's in there. If there's an agent that needs to be sent back to the bureau, it's him, leaving the other 2 agents there. So he's very much my flak jacket for the rest of the team. He goes in there, he offers the support where needed, and he really is the fall guy for the rest of the team to do the work. And at a 1 cost is unbelievable value in that regard. And here's another great thing. He can remove his token to negate a healing card played by the opposition. So if you're lucky enough to get Manitou out and damage your opposition, then they go to play that healing card. There he is, Agent Kresge, gets rid of his token and stops them doing that. So it's a pretty good team, a pretty strong team. They're investigating 2 sites per turn. Even with an agent down, like Kresge goes down or someone else, I'm usually able to manage to get a question or 2 questions off each turn with this team. So I'm really happy with it. Let's go to adversaries because it's at the top of the list. So I'll just go back, and so then we can start moving down properly, yeah? Got the Sandman in there, uses long and close range of the highest value of the opponent that you're with. So he's going to get 1 to 2 rounds in, hopefully. He's only got 5 health, so with a strong team in there, you really need to time Sandman when there's only 2 people there, and hopefully they've only got 1 long range or 1 close combat, and he can get in there and do 2 rounds of damage if possible, yeah? You've got Squeeze, gets past the long range combat round, goes straight to short range with 5 life. He might survive 2 rounds, might, depending on the team that you put him in with. Now, important to note, I did take out the card Dark Forces Align from all decks. Look, it's a 6 cost, and while I'm able to get the CP up there, I find that I'd rather use the CP for other things. So as much as I love the card Dark Forces Align, it's out. It doesn't have a place in the deck. And I tried to go with Surfing the Net. Very good card, but the times that I used it, I didn't really get the value from the card that I really wanted. It was probably better to just throw it away for the CP, but even at 2 points, I'm probably best to take it out of the deck, slim the deck down so then I can get to other cards that I really need in the deck. All right. So that was just a little bit off that. Let's keep going with the adversaries, shall we? We've got Operation Falcon Blue Berets. These are fantastic because you can split the damage among, multiple people, and they've got 8 health. So they're getting into the long range. If you take on a full team of the 5 agents, they're not going to survive. But if you can manage to actually hone in on 2 agents, then they're going to be quite deadly. Even 3 agents, they're quite deadly. They'll get into that second turn doing 7 points of damage. Fantastic. All right, Deadly Blur, another great one. So any agent damaged by the blur is placed in hospital. So you get that agents down for a turn, which is really good, regardless of how much health they have. Each opponent's long range combat and close range combat is reduced by 1 point. So those people that are shooting with 2 at long range are 1s now. And in close combat, 1s go to 0, 2s go to 1. So yeah, I really like Deadly Blur. It's good, expensive, but you do get your value, especially if you play it just at the right time. And the Manitou stalks his prey. Fantastic card. There's not much to say about it. Has 8 life, which is the important thing. So they have to take it out at long range. Once again, as the CP player, you want to be playing this at the right time. Okay. So yeah, all the shenanigans are playing it in the bureau and on another site that doesn't have it. You're paying 6 for Manitou, you're paying 6 for Dark Forces Align. There's probably better things to spend it on, which we'll be coming up with next. Okay, so we'll go past the adversaries, go past the agents, and let's get on to the various bluffs.
The bluffs are pretty much the same throughout all decks because you get so much value from them. But let's just go through it. This one forces an agent back to the bureau. So if you're getting that, hopefully Agent Kresge is there to actually go back to the bureau if an opponent plays it on you. Otherwise, you're sending one person back to the bureau and hopefully they're not answering a question that turn. You've got add 2 CP to your pool immediately. Fantastic. Like, you can't not have a card like this. You're getting more CP to build up those future rounds for your adversaries. Laser barrier, prevent one agent from contributing their skills to the one skill check of your choice that the team makes this turn. So that could be any skill check, whether you play another card that forces them to make a skill check or a skill check on the site itself. Yeah, we've got Nasty Surprise, add 5 tokens to your conspiracy pool. Fantastic card. No reason why you wouldn't put it in there. Car Troubles, I'm a little bit iffy on this, but I'm leaving it in the deck now. You can put it down as a bluff for 1 less, costing you 2, or you can play it for 3 face up after you've seen 3 agents hit a side, or 4 agents. You might want to send one of them home, especially if you as a player are really worried about them asking a question. You might want to make it that much harder for them. They might have a card that gives them a plus on the site, but you're making them use that card for future reasons where you don't want them to have it in the future. Yeah, so Car Troubles, it's in at the moment. If I have to get the deck down, it's probably coming out. All right, Detective Miles, fantastic. You pay 1 to grab 2 of their resource points and put it into your CP pool. You need to have the point in order to play this though, yeah? So always keep a CP if you're playing this. It is played for free if you play it face down. And Detective Tony Fiore, I have not really come up with this card too often, but play to cause your opponent to discard 2 cards. That is crazy good. If you play it face down, it's only costing you 1. They're discarding 2 cards. They might not care, but there are those turns where they might care. They're saving cards for a future turn, or they just haven't had a chance and you're getting rid of their hand. It's pretty good. All right, we are moving on to combat cards. I've only ever thrown these combat cards out. I've got 2 of Ambush in there. Look, we do have adversaries such as the Operation Falcon Blue Berets that can play subterfuge cards. But yeah, you can negate the long range. I've been throwing it out for CP. There's possibly better combat cards, and I'll possibly go through them, which are better value that I can throw out, or just take them out altogether if I'm going to reduce the deck. But in the small chance that they can play something, I haven't actually teed them both up at the same time, the adversary and these cards. And the one time that I did, I decided to throw this out for the CP because it was better for me to afford the adversary at the time. All right, let's keep moving along. High-powered flashlight. Look, I just throw it out for the CP. Adds 2 to the agent's observation skill. You know, I just throw it out for the CP. And of course, the shotgun. I need to get more of these because I've built 4 decks. I pretty much need 8 of them. And I think I'm sitting at 5 or 6 only for shotguns. So I need to find more. Yeah, it can add 3 to the agent's long range, but you throw it out for the 6 CP. I had 2 in one hand at one time, and I threw it out for 12 CP. That set me up for some real damaging stuff against the opponent, especially when I had Rejuvenating Caves as well. I'm sitting on 14, and if I had the second one out, I would have been sitting on 16 CP, bang, just in one round. And if I'm playing those other bluffs that give me 5 or 2 at a time, wow, that is pretty impressive, yeah? All right, let's keep going. We're into events now. So I've got the healing card, successful diagnosis and medical treatment. Need them in case I see the Manitou or to help get someone out of the hospital quickly. Yeah, I don't want my agent sitting in there for 2 turns if I can help him, or 3 if it happens to be like that. I've got the cigarette smoking man strikes. Now this is the biggest dick card that I've got in the actual decks. But you know, it's good to see the smoking man coming out, doing his thing and disappearing again. I think it's quite thematic. It's quite good. You're not taking anything away. He comes in on his helicopter, changes a keyword and leaves. I think it's okay, and I put 1 in a deck for each deck, yeah? I would put more if I was being really competitive, but these are made for fun. it's up to you where you want to take the game after this. But yeah, it is a good card to really mess up the opponent. Streak Contacts, fantastic. Anything that digs through your deck is fantastic. Find those witnesses, and you'll see that the witnesses that I've got in here coming up a little bit later have specific purposes, and that's what they have to be. You don't just put the witnesses in there just for the hell of it. They have to be specific. They have to be that when you get them in your hand, there is that thought there. Can I really throw this away for CP, or do I really need this witness? All these witnesses are very important to the deck and for winning the game. So yeah, Streak Contacts I've played 2 of in every deck, especially where I'm playing the witnesses that actually have an impact for making your game easier. All right, but we'll keep going on. Red Tape, there's the one played during the briefing phase to prevent one opponent from drawing any cards. Now, there's some discussion on when to play it and that. Look, I played in the friendly term. After the opponent has drawn his card to actually start the turn, you can play this and Red Tape gets in the way. They can't draw any cards, so they have to play with what's in the hand. It's probably the second dick card of the deck. I'll try and give every deck 1 Red Tape as well, just so they've all got the same chance. So they've got the Smoking Man and the Red Tape. They are having the influence. It is very thematic to the X-Files when you're trying to investigate and you're coming across different things, and that's why I put it in there, okay? I believe they're the only real cards. I try and keep ultra rares out of the game as well. So we'll just see how we go. Government sanctioned pheromone experiments force an opponent team to make a sciences 4+ skill check. Now, while we're big in sciences, other teams might not be, and so we throw that to the other team to really mess them up, and hopefully they don't do the skill checks for the site that we play this on. Thorough documentation. So I've got some cards in here, and this one I'm playing 1 or 2 of. Let's see, 2. So you play this before you do a skill check on the site. When you are successful, you can put this aside. It gives you +2 on any skill check in the future, and you discard it after you use it. So I usually put it under my X-File and just wait for it to be used. If you've got this on the board early and you're successful and you play it, future ones, even when your agents are down in that, you've always got that there. You don't even need to play it in the game. It just needs to be there for a threat. And as an opponent, if you see this on the table, you want them to use it as soon as possible. So hit their agents, knowing that they're still going to make the skill check, make them use this card. Do not have them late game. Have this card for when you actually come out with something and try to stop them. They're still going to have this at a +2. It's pretty effective, yeah? Langley, getting rid of bluffs. Worth it. Fingernail scrapings. Just like thorough documentation, after you are successful on a site, you play this for 1 and you get +1 on a skill check on a future site. So if you're sitting there at the start, early on in the game, and you've got this and this sitting there, you've got a +3 to any skill check. You could send an agent out to a 4+ or a 5+ site by himself and actually use these 2 cards and get a successful question asked. In that regard, you know, very, very useful. I've got 2 of this in this deck. I think in the Molder deck, I reduced it by 1, but we'll get to the Molder deck when on another video, okay? Right, Hard Evidence, very good card. Add 5 tokens to your resource pool. Fantastic. It's worth the 2, get 3 back, 3 extra back. Relentless Pursuit, prevent the opposing player from drawing cards after they have paid, but before cards are drawn. So yeah, it does hit pretty hard, but if you as a resource player is going to be hit with Red Tape, I think it's fair that Relentless Pursuit, and you're having to pay for it, can be played against the opponent. So 3 dick cards, yeah. But they're not, there's 1 of in the deck, and I don't think it's as impactful as some of those ultra rare cards that you would otherwise see. So I'm fine with it in the deck, yep. Everyone's got access to it. I wish I had more of this card. Grid, Pattern Search. I'm trying to keep it to 1 to each deck, but I think I'm short. I might only have 2 or 3 of this card. Select 1 card from your discard pile and place it in your hand. Fantastic. If you've played something, thrown something out that you possibly need again, and remember, this is an event card. You can play it as an instant at any time that you need to make that skill check, or you need that combat card back in your hand or anything like that. At a cost of 2, you can grab it back and hopefully be able to play something from that. I think it's a fantastic card. Anything that gets you searching, whether it's your discard pile or your deck, is fantastic. Yeah, it's a must-have. Rejuvenating Caves, 2 in every deck. It's just too good. Yeah, you pay 2 and you get 10 to use 2 each turn you get back. So it's a fantastic card. 2 of any in each deck. What else have we got? Alien Experimentation. I think I've only got a few of these, but negate any one keyword event card. So if someone plays an event against you which has a keyword, you can play this card and stop it. Every deck has it to prevent the game. So these decks, when they were going at each other, I was actually getting frustrated towards end game because neither team could ask questions because they're really hitting each other with all these event cards and adversaries that the game was like, oh my goodness, I just need to get 2 more questions off, but it was impossible. And just when I thought that the teams would actually do it, the opposition was able to get enough CP together in order to play a card. And this went on for 4 or 5 turns, at which point I just stopped the game and said, all right, the decks are done. Yeah, and I need to make this video. So, all right, Trap. Now, this one I actually had some success of playing, so it's staying in the deck. And reason is because it only costs 3 to do. If you get an adversary and then you're able to play Trap, you can actually target one agent to take the damage. And like, if you're coming up against Mulder's at an alien investigation site and he's giving 4 to that check, you're trapping him with your adversary. You know he's doing 2 at long range, 2 at short range, or is it 3? I'm not too sure. But he's going to potentially take a fair bit of damage and possibly taken out into hospital. The site won't get seen, and then he's in there for possibly 2 turns, meeting it out while the rest of the team try and do something, and you've just bought yourself some time to ask your own questions and win the game. Trap, especially in this deck, which I made heavy on the adversaries, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 adversaries, I think it's important, yeah? Let's keep going on. We've got a friend in the FBI, fantastic card. Play this card in the bureau. Place 10 tokens on this card. So you're paying 2 to get a rejuvenating case, but for your RP, every deck has 1. I would like to put 2 in, but I haven't got too many of this card. I'm running 4 decks at the moment, so this is 1 of in each deck. All right, Frohickey, you know, negate 1 event card played on your turn, yeah? So we've got what was before. We've got Alien Experimentation played in as the conspiracy player. Frohickey played as the investigating player. All right, let's keep moving on. We've got our sites. Now you'll see with the sites here, I've gone with 4+ sites. And even if they're 1 question, they're quite balanced out in regards to whether their method, oh, you're killing me here. All right, whether they're method, affiliation, motive, or result driven, yeah? So they're quite balanced out with a whole bunch of them. So I've got a 4+ there, and that's a 1 of, this is a 2 of. I really tried to just mix it all up. So we've got 4+ medical, 4+ medical, 4+ sciences. We've got a 5+ science, 5+ observation. There is some observation in the deck. If I ever needed it, maybe then I could use those cards that give me a +1 or a +2 onto it. But yeah, I'm going all right with medical and sciences. Medical 5+, behavioral 5+, sciences 4+, so brought it back. Alien investigation 5+, or computer 5+, so it's used for the computer, not the alien investigation. Computer 4+, alien investigation 5, computer 5, but allowing 2 questions. Medical 5 and criminal 5. Computer 5, bureaucracy 5, sciences 5 and evidence collection 5, and medical 4. Okay, all right. And we've got another site sitting here at computer 5 and medical 5. This is a very good site because it hits the 2 skills that I'm strongest in, so I can choose either one, yeah? All right, we're getting on to the witnesses. And I said that each witness needs to have a specific purpose. When you get a witness in hand, you have to think to yourself, you know, do I need it or can I use it for resource type thing? And it should never, ever be a case that you are automatically used for resource unless you're going for game, or you can use it quite effectively that turn. Each one is going to hurt you unless you get your grid pattern search to actually get it back out again, okay? So change 1 keyword to any other 1 keyword on a card played by your opponent. So if an opponent tries to play some adversary or something that's really going to mess you up, you want to change that keyword so it can't be played on the site. Yeah, pretty important type stuff. So I think the thinker, one of, is enough in the deck. We've got Dr. Osborne, adds 1 RP every time a keyword government or medical card is played. So every site or every healing card, or not healing, any medical card played, you're getting 1 resource back in your pool. So I've got the Sciences agent in there that's paying 1 resource, and if you play a 1-site card, he pays for that, and then Dr. Osborne gets your resource back into your pool. So it's cost you nothing. You've actually gained 1 from playing that 1 cost site. That's why these guys are so important. They get you the resources, and that will be on a future video on like the possible 3 most important things I look for in building a deck, and this is one of them: the ability to gain resources without costing yourself anything, to keep your state alive within the game and not struggling for resource points. Same thing with Michelle Generu. Adds 1 RP for every computer or bureaucracy card played. So you've got every medical and every computer card played, you're getting a resource. And Dr. Nollet, sciences and observation card played. So sciences, computer, and medical card play, you're getting 1 RP from each one. And then finally, we've got Dr. Jeff Eckerl, adds 2 to your team's computer or 1 to your team's sciences skill check. Now, I've only got 1 of him in there. With everything else I've got in the deck in regards to giving you +2s, +1s, possibly not needed. Okay, it possibly would come out if I needed to thin the deck out. However, it's nice that if I've got a street contacts in hand, something's happened to my agents and I need the extra points, I can go searching for a Dr. Eckerl, or if I've used him for CP in the past, I can use a grid pattern search to go into my discard, grab him out and use it for the site check in order to get the pluses if I don't have thorough documentation or fingernail scrapings sitting there waiting for me to use as well. And even if I do, I can possibly use Dr. Jeff Eckerl plus those 2 extra cards to actually pass the site check with someone that is struggling in either of these skills as well. Okay, so that is all the cards, guys, for this deck. I will have a link to this site that I use to actually build the decks, as well as a link to where you can actually get all the cards from this set, or a list of the cards in this deck. If you're a beginning player and you wanted to take a deck straight out and start playing to really understand the deck, this is the Scully deck for you. I'm also going to be doing the Mulder deck coming up. I'll just get this video finished and get the next one out, hopefully not too far apart from each other, and then I'll do another video in regards to what I look for when building a deck, the top 3 things to start you off. Okay, that's it for me today. If you liked what I did, please give us a thumbs up and give us some detail in the comments about your appreciation, or maybe things I could have done differently, or what you do or don't agree with. And if you enjoy what we're doing here, not only a thumbs up, why not give us a like on the site, follow us. Second of your time, but it's a lifetime of love for us. Okay, have a great one, guys. We'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.